For better or for worse, probably for worse, we all know what Cyberpunk 2077 is, and we all know what a dumpster fire this game was on release. But CD Projekt Red did one thing right with this game since day one. They created an amazing progression system that has awesome guns. And as I played through, seeing my character T-pose at will, enemies disappear, and my car driving through walls, I thought to myself, how could I possibly make this game any fucking worse? How could I have an even more obnoxious gaming experience than the one I'm already having? Something that could entertain all of you assholes watching this video. Then it dawned on me. Why don't I just exclude myself from the one good aspect of this game, the one that even the biggest haters had to admit was fun? So that's just what I did. I set myself out on a new playthrough, one with some of the most horrendous roles I could possibly come up with, and here they are. Number 1, I am only allowed to use white rarity weapons, the ones that do the absolute least damage and have no special abilities and no variation. 2, I'm not allowed to use any of the skill points acquired through leveling up. This means not using the upgrade trees to boost any of my stats or give me any special skills. I'm going to be raw dogging this shit harder than your father 9 months before your birth. 3, if any enemy is aggroed to me at any time, I must kill them before moving on to the next area. So whenever you see a red dot on the minimap, that indicates an enemy I'm gonna have to eliminate. And I can't wait for all of you fuckers to comment about every single enemy I miss throughout the entire run. And number 4, I cannot complete any mission using sneak. There's no point in using only shitty guns and no skill points if I could just one-shot kill any enemy by sneaking up on them. And yeah, I know that last video I said I would never do another challenge run again, but I'm a little whore and this gets good views, so I'm selling myself out like a woman in the red light district of Vietnam. Alright, so the run starts like any other guy playing Cyberpunk. I chose the street kid life path and don't edit my character at all except for choosing the largest penis size that they let you have. I knock back a shot, fix my nose, and before I even have time to take a breath, I've already been assigned a gig to steal an exorbitantly rich guy's extremely rare car. And in a dystopian future where the rich get away with anything and exploit the poor for everything, what could possibly go wrong? No fucking way, who could have guessed? After me and Jackie get released by the not-so-corrupt cop, we have a friendship montage that would make even the kids in Stand By Me a little jealous. Once Jackie and I were done skipping and holding hands in a field of dandelions, we decided it was time to actually play the game. And what's better than trying to clear out a den of organ trafficking serial killers with a singular white pistol that does 50 damage? Don't fucking ask me why, but I decided to do this run on a controller for the first time in 3 years, so I have the aim of a dementia-riddled grandmother off 3 bars of Xanax, so just bear with me for the time being. I found a shotgun that for some reason only does 20 more damage than the 9mm pistol, but you know, in a run like this, I really will take anything I can get. I quickly dispatched the remaining hooligans in the hideout and found the girl we were sent here to save. Unfortunately for you guys, I was dumb and forgot to turn off nudity in the settings, so I'm going to have to censor this part a bit because there is very realistic jiggle physics on this borderline dead woman's body, which isn't weird at all, just kind of an odd choice, just pointing that out there. Once that mission is over, you're placed into an obnoxiously long prologue that you have to sit through because for some reason this is the one part of the game where you just cannot skip and there is zero fighting. Like, I'm telling you guys, this game has its cool moments. Sitting in a car with a dude named Dexter Deshawn and just talking about the morality of life is definitely not fucking one of them. After that meaningful conversation, I hopped in the car with Jackie and we talked some more. We drove to my local Ripper dock and I bet you're not gonna be able to guess what happened there. Oh, did you guess we just talked more for multiple minutes where I could do nothing but sit there and hit the skip button? Yeah, you're exactly fucking right. How did you know? Once the talking was over and the B button on my controller was faded from hitting skip so many times, Jackie and I entered the Maelstrom hideout where we were assigned to retrieve a piece of tech from there. Now I want you to look at this guy's face and tell me how you think Jackie and I went about acquiring this new piece of technology. Was it A, we politely asked and they gave it to us? B, we willingly paid them their asking price and walked out? C, we quietly stole it and snuck out without a single person noticing? Or D, we shot them in their fucked up spider eyes? Well, I don't have the charisma skill points to politely ask for it, and I'm more broke than a bread salesman in Venezuela, and according to my own rules, I'm not allowed to sneak, so you bet your ass I took my white pistol and shot him through the fucking skull. Also, shout out to this random dude for world dropping a fucking legendary that I can't use. Really cool, thank you so much for that. I can't really upgrade my health or fortitude throughout this entire run, so I'm kinda just stuck with less than 200 health for the whole playthrough, meaning getting through this factory full of Maelstrom is just a whole lot of me hiding around corners, shooting a couple bullets, getting railed by 30 dudes, then going back behind cover and healing. After about 10 minutes of that, me and Jackie made it out and we were sent to a VR strip club where we are introduced to the most mind-numbing, snooze-enhancing, boring fucking mechanic I've ever seen in a video game. Brain dances, where you just sit there and watch people talk. Like, that's it. You sit sit there, listen to their conversation, then scan whatever the fuck it is that they need you to scan. Real exciting stuff. After we took their robot from Maelstrom and scanned some random bullshit, we had everything we needed to actually complete the big heist we've been planning this entire prologue. We set ourselves up in the hotel room and I sat back for another entire section of the game where I got to play as a little robot spider doing nothing but scanning shit and directing it where to go. This mission is so fucking boring that at a certain point they actually tell you to just sit down and wait. I'm not joking, it's on the screen right now. You literally just sit down and do fucking nothing. Once the coast was clear, me and Jackie headed up to the main penthouse to attempt to steal one of the most valuable pieces of technology held by the most powerful company in the entire world. What could possibly go wrong? No fucking way. We spent the rest of our free time making our way through the hotel tower, killing any Arasaka guards in the way. At this point in the game, all of the enemies were holding white rarity weapons, meaning I could just pick up any gun off the ground that had a higher damage than the one I was currently using and be on my merry way. I continued this trend of running, gunning, and looting corpses down to the garage of the hotel, where finally the consequences of our actions met us and I had the privilege of driving home with a dead body on my shoulder. Jackie's body was dropped off at his family's and I was to meet with Dexter Deshawn in a secret hotel room. And you would not believe it, but the guy that everyone told us would betray us ended up betraying us. No fucking way. And with that, we are 6 pages into my script for this video and I just hit the title sequence. Let's fucking go. Oh, I don't want to do the rest of this. Once the prologue is done, you're teleported back in time to control Johnny during the attack on Arasaka Tower. Now, you can't progress past this section without using the helicopter's machine gun to kill all of the enemies remaining on the roof. So just for my sake, guys, we're gonna pretend like this weapon firing 50 cal bullets and one-shotting enemies is actually white rarity, because I don't feel like saying I already lost the challenge. Once that's done, you're forced to fight through the tower as Johnny Silverhand. However, you don't have access to your inventory during this section of the game, meaning that I have to either use my fists or Johnny's pistol. Later in the game, you're actually able to receive Johnny's pistol as a quest reward, and it's not white rarity, meaning for all of the Silverhand flashbacks, you're gonna be seeing me use my fists more than you would in a Lana Rhodes video. I made my way through the crowds of Arasaka bodyguards until Adam Smasher made me look like that one guy from the Black Ops 3 campaign. You know the one, right? Oh, that was fucking gross. We flash back to the present where Takamura found me in the dump, and yet again I was forced to use a random weapon he gave me. So just for me, we're gonna pretend like this is also a white gun and the challenge hasn't been failed for the 3rd time already. Once Takamura brings me to knock off Dr. Mike, we are set on another 40-minute long segment of the game where we do a whole lot of talking and not a lot of anything else. Me and Johnny have a cute little Freaky Friday moment, had a little coffee date with Takamura, and then we were sent off to Judy's to try and find a girl we've met one time. Judy gives me a hint that we might find her at another strip club called Clouds, but to find out where she is exactly, we're gonna have to talk to the Clouds manager. But I'm not allowed to sneak, and I have no skill points in any skill categories, so I can't talk my way out of anything, which means I get to gun down any and all armed people in Clouds. I enter the manager's office and immediately fill him full of lead because at this point, violence is all I know. Once that's over, we read his email and found out she was sent to a Ripper doc that specializes in strippers and prostitutes. Don't know how you find yourself in a career like that, but we interrogate him, and at this point, I just leaned into the character and killed him even after he told us where she was. I don't know, it was funnier in my head. I just kind of feel bad now. We find out that she was forced to take part in a series of snuff videos by buying one of the brain dances off a random guy in an alley. I thought that was kind of fucked up, so I took out my white shotgun and did him in point blank. The game also paused at the perfect moment to capture this masterpiece of a frame. When I was done murdering street vendors, I made my way to the warehouse where they are keeping the girl and armed myself with the best white weapons I could find, which is kind of the same as saying I gathered the strongest 5th graders to help me in a street fight, but you take what you can get during these runs. I spent about 10 minutes fighting my way deeper and deeper through the warehouse. Ask me why they need 50 people to guard an illegal porn ring, and I could not tell you, but one thing I do know is that none of them are alive anymore. I grabbed Evelyn after we disconnected her from the Cyberpunk version of the Sword Art Online headset, and grabbed her to get her away from this fucking coon cave. Weird to say that this is not the first time in the run where an unconscious woman had hyper-realistic jiggle physics on her tits, but now we know what the devs were doing instead of bug fixing for the last 8 years. They had their priorities, and I just have to respect that. Once we returned Evelyn to Judy, I met with Rogue, and she instructed me to meet with Panam, also known as the girl you see when you look up the word Cyberpunk on Pornhub. Like most of you guys who played this game, I usually go about doing the full Panam questline, so I'm able to unlock the tank cutscene, because, you know, when in Rome. But this time, I'm just trying to get through the game as fast as possible. We drove to a town that looked straight out of rural Nebraska and did a surprise attack on a couple of ruffians that stole Panam's car. After her ride was back in her hands, we headed over to the city's power plant to commit a couple acts of domestic terrorism in Night City. Once we shot the AV out of the sky, I was yet again forced to use another fucking giant machine gun connected to a vehicle. As we both agreed earlier, this gun is white rarity and nothing more, nothing less. I made my way over to the crashed AV where I destroyed a horde of military-grade robots with nothing but my white pump-action shotgun and my Bowie knife. The game tries its best to have an emotional story beat by attempting to tug on your heartstrings with Panam and Mitch talking about how a guy you met one time died in your attack. It doesn't really work, so I just jumped around and skipped the dialogue I could. I followed some random hologram technology that you literally only see in this mission and never again to a nearby gas station where they were holding the man we needed to kidnap. Unfortunately, this gas station gave me a bit of trouble, and by trouble I mean I walked into this gas station about a dozen times and only walked out once. This single interaction took half an hour of my life and probably another year on top of that in stress, anger, and increased blood pressure. Mr. Hands, whose title was a little unfortunate, called me and informed me that I needed to meet with Placide in a place called Pacifica, which is basically Night City's Baltimore when it comes to crime and government assistance. Placide sent me off to an abandoned shopping mall filled with a gang called the Animals, a group of criminals who have all consumed more steroids than Arnold in his prime, and wow, this was not fun. Very quickly, I realized how incredibly shit the automatic saving in this game was, and the fact that the mall was ridden with roid-raged animals that were entirely set to kill me made it so that I couldn't save while inside the mall itself, resulting in me having only a single save point directly outside the mall. Meaning that no matter how far through the mall I was, no matter how many enemies I killed or how long I've been in there, if I died, I was reset back to the fucking start, making this encounter and the upcoming boss fight take over an hour and 20 minutes of my life, something I will never get back and will consistently think about when I am on my deathbed wishing I had more time. So I slowly made my way through the mall, armed with nothing but my white revolver and my micro penis, further and further until I was met with the worst kind of muscle mommy you could ever imagine. Thank God this real human being had a convenient glowing weak spot on their back, making the majority of the fight comically easy. Once I had defeated her and she was just laying there dying on the floor, I just shot her like the dog in Old Yeller because I don't know. I already done it a couple times, so why not keep the theme? I keep thinking it's gonna be funny, but it's never funny. It just makes me feel bad. After that encounter, I had met up with Placide's people. They took me to their little net running cave and had me dive straight into a sex scene with Silverhand's ex-girlfriend. I hit it and then split it and once again was forced to fist my way through waves and waves of Arasaka assassins. We got in our car and attempted to make a getaway until a couple of enemies started to tail us. The game tried to make me shoot them with Silverhand's pistol, but I'm a good little boy and just watched them until their cars magically exploded themselves. We attacked Arasaka Tower for the second time in this playthrough in an attempt to find Johnny's side piece, which meant I got to use only my fist for the entire encounter. Thankfully, when you play as Johnny, you get 700 health and kill most enemies in 2 or 3 punches, so these flashbacks actually ended up being the easiest parts of the run. We found Alt stuck in some weird sci-fi coma thing. I don't really know, I wasn't paying attention to any of the dialogue, but once that was over, I was sent into cyberspace to talk to Alt's computer consciousness. I really couldn't fucking tell you at this point. I woke up out of cyberspace and then immediately was attacked by Placide and his people. Don't really know why, but the game told me to kill them all, so that's exactly what I did. Took me a good minute, but eventually I killed Placide and went on my way. I met up with Takamura to plan out our heist for the parade float, but not before I got to watch him try his best to flirt with the 80-year-old Japanese woman that I get my jobs from. Once we were done our planning, I was sent into a heavily armed Arasaka facility on my own with nothing but white weapons, a hope, and a dream. It only took 20 minutes of my life, but I was eventually able to pick off every enemy in the warehouse and plug my arm cable into the random hole. I'm still not exactly sure what it did, but Takamura told me I did a good job after, so I'm gonna take it. It was finally time for me and Takamura to do this. All of the planning was over, everything was lined up, and it was finally time to... I don't really know. We did something with a float, but that's really the extent of my knowledge. Apparently there were a couple snipers, so Takamura made it my job to go and neutralize them, and wow, I am so fucking stupid. I died multiple times attempting to kill a sniper that didn't even know I was there. How does one fucking accomplish that? I truly cannot tell you. It took me another 15 minutes, but I was finally able to eliminate all 3 snipers and continue to where the Netrunner was hiding. However, before you're able to kill the Arasaka Netrunner, you're ambushed by Oda, the other Arasaka bodyguard, and this initializes the second big boss fight of the game, and holy shit, did this make me want to quit the fucking game. The boss fight itself isn't hard. He just has all of the goddamn health in the world, and I can't fucking hit him. He does this annoying ass move where he just teleports around, and no bullets can hit him, not even a full spread from a fucking 12 gauge shotgun, and sometimes he'll just flat out disappear or go invisible. Like, what the fuck? It doesn't help that I'm using a white level 5 revolver against a cyborg ninja that can fucking teleport, but I eventually got him down. Before Takamura could even finish his sentence, I shot Oda in his fucking face and went on my way because wow, am I getting real sick of this fucking challenge. I hope you're enjoying. Takamura had a 30-second conversation with Hanako, then fucking kidnapped her? Call me crazy, but abducting the heir to the largest company in the entire world seems like a bad idea. Yeah, I could have guessed that was gonna fucking happen. Once Takamura was dead and gone, I was summoned by Hanako to break her out of the heavily guarded Arasaka mansion. Is that a fucking mech? Clearing out the 20 enemies in this mansion took me 18 minutes and 34 seconds. Not because the area was particularly hard or there were too many enemies to deal with. No, it took me 18 minutes because the game would only allow me to have a save point before I started the actual fucking mission. Every time I died, I had to restart in Misty's shop, wait for Helman to arrive, then watch a cutscene that is close to 2 minutes long. After I killed every enemy in the mansion, me, Hanako, and Helman flew to the top of Arasaka Tower to meet with the Arasaka Board of Directors. However, as you could probably already assume, walking straight into the headquarters of a company whose entire focus is set on capturing me was not a good idea, resulting in me having to face waves and waves of Yorinobu's assassins and soldiers. Once I gave the Arasaka foot soldiers a bit of that, I can't leave that joke in. I just... That's fucking ridiculous. I continued to the next area where I was met with Adam fucking Smasher, and as he did his entrance, I was just mentally preparing for the anal blasting that this fight was gonna be. I fought the good fight for a couple minutes, but eventually died to Adam Smasher. We all knew that was gonna fucking happen, guys. I'm using a level 8 white SMG, but what I was not expecting was to be reset back to a room full of enemies before the boss fight even starts. I understand game development is hard, but what fucking dipshit toddler was sitting at his desk and thought to himself, you know what, let's not have the next checkpoint till after they defeat the final boss. That's gonna make the end of the game real fun. But through determination, grit, 3 keyboards, and 2 mice, I finally downed the fucker and killed Adam Savage. Adam Smasher. Adam Savage is the guy from Mythbusters. I killed Adam Savage. I blasted the fucking nerd's brains all over the goddamn concrete. And with that, the run is over. Well, there's actually another full 40 minutes of cutscenes and interactive pieces where you don't get to fight anybody, but Adam Savage is the last combat portion of the game. So, can you beat Cyberpunk 2077 with just white gear and no skill points? Of fucking course you can. It's an RPG. That's like the entire premise of being able to make your own builds. I just thought this would get good views, and boy do I sure hope it does. If you enjoyed, remember to drop a like and subscribe. Comment if you want anything. I shit you not, I read and reply to every single one. And just say hi if you feel like it. Peace and have a good night. Mwah. Kisses.